That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have our prospect planner piece going on right here and right now. And again, appreciate you coming along for the ride. As you see, we have quite the setup here today, and I say that because, well, we got a really good guest on, and really can't wait for it to get going. But again, this is our prospect planner piece, and it is the time where we get to dive into the pursuit of the game, of the college game, of the pro game, beyond the field. What does that look like? And so many great, inspiring tales of what recruiting has gone on. Playing in the professional ranks, and we get the chance to do that here this time around with the one and only Cody Ege, who will be joining us in just a bit. But for right now, I got to bring in a partner in crime who helps me out with this each and every segment, and that is the one and only Chad Erickson of RDA Financial. Chad, hey, thanks again, and welcome back.
You bet. Thanks, Andrew. Great to be here again. I'm looking forward to today. I've spoken with Cody many times, and looking forward to picking his brain again.
Yeah, I mean this is really cool. It's so hard to get to pro ball, let alone any time into the major league ranks. And I remember looking at, I think it was a 2016 baseball almanac, MLB baseball almanac, and I always look for the guys in Iowa, right? I don't think I've gotten a baseball almanac book for a couple of years now, but I always used to look at it and see the guys who were making the pro ball, making the big leagues, and I remember seeing Cody on there, and the description was this guy willed himself into the major leagues. Yeah, it was basically his willpower and everything that you want an athlete, a young athlete, to have. He is the embodiment, I think, of that. And it was really cool. I mean, if you get that by a major publication to say that about you, something's going right, I think. And so it's going to be real fun to get him to chat with him. So this is going to be a fun one. But
Yeah, without a doubt, the work ethic and the things that Cody shared with me and my son, uh, it's just really good fuel, and so I'm excited to have him on here and share some things with everybody. So
yep, yeah, and hey, this is going to be, again, something that you can catch, ladies and gentlemen, not only on Rockfin, but of course on YouTube. We'll be able to catch that up there, live, loud, and proud. So wherever you can find us, do so. And again, we've had a whole lot of fun on this segment. But without further ado, Chad, I know that you and I are, some cool cats, but I think we need someone else, like I said, who this whole thing is about. Let's bring in the one and only Cody Ege right now as he joins us on the hotline. And Cody, man, really appreciate the time. Thanks for, I know that there's a lot going on in the course of any day, any week, any month. So appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys getting me on here, and obviously, anytime that we can sit and talk some baseball, I'm in. So, you guys got me.
Deal. Hey, and again, love it. Love it. And I want to first off talk on just as we sit here, where we got, officially pitchers and catchers have reported. We're starting to get that baseball itch. After the Super Bowl, and there's always been that. I know that once a baseball guy, always a baseball guy, and I know that I even though you've been away a little bit from it. Do you still get that itch? I mean, do you still get after the Super Bowl? Does your mind just switch to a different direction?
Oh, 100%. And like you said, the Super Bowl's fun, and that's always a good time and a big turning point for us baseball fans because we get to close the book on the Sundays and start opening our eyes to, the everyday baseball life. And I did see MLB posted something on Instagram yesterday, and it was the sounds of spring training. So you could just watch the video even with your eyes closed, and it gave me the chills. It was the cleats walking across the concrete and the pitching machine going, and then the wood bat hitting it, and then catcher's gloves popping, and you can tell it's just that early spring morning. And so yeah, this is an exciting time of year, hopefully for everybody.
Oh yeah, I am so I know that here in Iowa, we have to wait a little bit before our high school season gets going. Obviously, we have college going on right now. With that, I mean, how glued are you when it comes to the college game now? I mean, obviously, removed from college for a little bit here. Took your college at Louisville. Love the coaching staff there. Love everything they got going there as well. And we'll get to that here. But how juiced are you that we have the college season? At least I know that JUCO has already started previously, but now it's like all college baseball is real. And what are your thoughts here, and how juiced are you for that?
Yeah, no, same thing. Just super excited for it. Still keep up with Louisville. I don't get too deep into, who is where and what, but
Mm-hmm.
I just love watching and seeing how the game's changed. Seeing the guys at Louisville, like you said, that coaching staff, how they're developing the team, whether it's a young team, old team, they've struggled the last couple of years, so I'm excited to see how they'll bounce back because I know they will. It's just a matter
Yep.
of when. Um, Coach Mack's just unbelievable at the helm, and then Coach Williams and Coach Rabel and that whole staff. I mean, everybody's unbelievable there, and it's an unbelievable support staff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see, how them boys turn out. Obviously, I can recall the first game of the seasons and how everybody's amped up and ready to go, and expectations are high, but yet you're not sure what's going to happen. Obviously, we've put in a ton of work, and at that point, it's let's just go play baseball now. We've done everything we can to this point. Let's not push. Let's not press. Let's just go play our type of baseball. And usually that's what the first month might be. It's let's find our identity. Are we a dominant, starting pitching staff that, if we win 2 games, we're going to win a lot of games? Or, there's times that, we're going to have to score 6 runs a game, 7 runs a game to win. And it's fun to figure out that identity, because then once everybody gets on that same page, it becomes a lot of fun, because, ultimately you can put everything aside and say, hey, if we score 7 runs today, we win a game. And other than that, nothing else matters. So just trying to simplify the game in that aspect, and finding that identity is a lot of fun early in the season.
Yeah, I gotta love that. And Chad, we'll get to you here in next question. But Cody, I wanted to start with fact is Sioux City, Iowa native. I love the fact that when I was growing up. By the way, Chad, I'm gonna say that I share something with Cody, and that's the birth year 1991, if I'm not mistaken. And so kudos to the 91s here. But I did when I was growing up. Sioux City was always that basketball guy. Heinrich. There's the basketball town, and yeah, growing up as a baseball fan, I'm like, wow. I wanted that narrative to change, but man, has that started to change, and it's been changing for quite some time now, and love it. You are part of the group. You, Daniel Tillo, Tyler Cropley, among others that have come out of the area, and it's really kind of cool for us to see that anyway, especially as fans of the area. What are your thoughts on kind of being that part of that crap to change that narrative from it's not just basketball. This is a baseball city.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you said, it's a lot of fun, and once you kind of get into competing with, some dudes, we could call them, it becomes a lot of fun, and I think that competition is, unmatched in the world of how to develop young athletes. Let them compete, let them fail, let them succeed. At the end of the day, the competition is only going to make everybody better. If somebody's coming for your job, you're going to play better. They're trying to play better. Um, so it's really cool when a group like that can kind of compete and bounce off each other, and ultimately, without saying words, hold each other to a high level, because oh, he's doing this, and it's cool to see, but I want to be a little bit ahead of that, or whatever it may be. Um, but like you said, it's a fun time when you got a group of guys that just compete at a high level and push each other, and like without maybe even saying words to each other.
Yeah, Chad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that it takes a while, I think, in high school for young guys to gel like that, where they're pushing each other and it's a positive thing, right? What was that like when you stepped onto that D1 college field? How did that dynamic change for the better, for worse? I mean, what obviously you're competing for starting time at whatever level you're playing at, but what was the difference between that high level high school team, because you guys won a state title, right? Am I remembering that correctly,
Yep, yep,
Cody?
yep. We went 5 years in a row and won
Yeah.
one.
So you go from yeah. So you go from that high level successful high school team, and then you go Division One to really really good D1 school. What was the leap in between those two teams outside of the talent? I'm just talking about the work.
Yeah, that's what it's really exciting. You get to college baseball, right? And everybody can play baseball there. You're there for a reason. And Coach Mack kind of said it the best at Louisville. But everybody that's at Louisville, for instance, just using my example, was the man in high school, right? We all hit 500. We all came and we were the man, and we didn't bunt, and just you were the man on the mound. You were the guy, the pitcher, the starter. You were the dude. And so when you get there and now you're surrounded by 30 of those guys, it becomes how quickly can you put away your ego to say, I will do whatever it takes for this team to win. Um, and I think that's a huge step, especially as a young adult that is now out in the world on their own and living and doing their own dishes and laundry and cooking dinners. Um, but I think for me, that was the biggest step. My freshman year, you come in and like you said, everybody's the guy. We got the man from New Jersey, the man from Indiana, the man from, all over the country coming together. And it's now thinking, how can you put your ego aside? We're all right back to square zero. Nobody's proven anything here at this level. You can't just walk in and be good at high school and think you're going to be the man in college. Like it's just a giant leap. Doesn't matter what level you go to, it's a leap. Everybody on that field now was the man in high school. So really just putting that humility to the side and just saying, hey, like, I that's in the past. What we did was a lot of fun. Obviously, I shared a lot of sweet moments with my high school friends, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But as soon as you get to Louisville and step on that field, um, especially for me, I was undersized. I wasn't throwing. I wasn't the hardest thrower. I was hitting at the time, so I was now seeing 95 to 97 every day, and that's a huge jump from what I saw in high school. So just really being humble, putting your head down and working and realizing, we got a long ways to go. And what has happened prior to this in my career no longer carries any weight. We're all right back to square one and starting at scratch.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Ege, former professional baller all the way up to the major league ranks, Sioux City, Iowa native here, Washington High School, of course, drafted by, I believe, the Rangers in the 15th round in 2013. This is a guy, obviously, Cody, one of the things I want to reference here again is going back to, and I mentioned it as I was talking to Chad here before we brought you on, the fact that, I got to look in a major publication and see the fact that, the description of you was, willed yourself into the major leagues, and gosh, I obviously the talent's there, but there's that you were just talking about that, you get to that certain level and everybody has the talent, everyone's there. And so as we take a look again through your, let's go with the recruiting process now, what was that what was that process for you? I know that it's changed, has changed a little bit since then. Obviously, with the August 1st of your junior year deadline now is when that comes through. But take us through your process. I know that we've had teams like TCU, Louisville continually come in and dip into Iowa here, but there's a lot of stuff to consider, a lot of things outside just the game as well. What was the process for you in order to get to Louisville?
Um, so I kind of had a leg up. One of my good buddies played baseball with my entire career, Matt Cook. He's still playing professionally. He's with the Rockies organization, was in the big leagues most of the year with them last year. But he was a grade older than me at Cherokee, and he went to Louisville, committed to Louisville, and at the time I was the young buck. I think he committed as a junior probably, so I was a sophomore, and I wasn't even thinking about my future in college baseball in that aspect. And So I was like, oh shoot, who's Louisville? So I started, digging in. Matt was drafted out of high school out of Iowa, which is, an awesome accomplishment. So I'm thinking, he knows what he's doing. This guy has picked the right school, whatever it may be. Um, so it kind of had an in with him there. Every time Louisville would come watch him, in Cherokee, Matt's dad was our coach, Scott Cook, for a long time, and he would make sure I threw, just to get that little exposure to Louisville while they were in Cherokee. Um, so then I kind of took an unofficial visit, visited Matt. They knew that I was interested. Basically, they told me they wanted me to walk on, and at that point, I'm thinking I'll go to a small school, get some school paid for financially. It just doesn't make sense for me to bite that bullet and pay that out of state tuition, and for maybe unsure if I'm even going to get a jersey in the springtime. So then I ended up getting hooked up and went down to the World Wood Bat Nationals in Jupiter, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and I threw an inning down there. And this is kind of the story that I tell a lot of the kids that I work with is like, you don't know who's watching at what time. And that's why I think it's so important to respect the game and play the game the right way in every aspect, regardless of where you are or who you think's in the stands. It doesn't matter. Kind of how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yep.
So I go down there, I throw one inning, and I think I threw 8 or 9 pitches, 2 groundouts, and a guy bunted, and I fielded it and threw him out at first. Didn't think anything of it, walk off after the game, and Louisville pitching coach is there, Roger Williams, and pretty much tells me, hey, we want to move some money around. We want to get you on scholarship. And I'm thinking, what the heck did I do today that is so different? I threw 8 or 9 pitches, 2 groundouts, and I fielded my position, just normal stuff to me. So he walks away, and next thing you know, Baylor walks up, Kansas walks up, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, if I would have came in here and thrown a ball and had a little bit of an attitude or something along those lines, none of this opportunity would be here in front of me. So like for me and my story, and kind of the same thing as we'll talk about getting drafted, is you don't know who's watching at any time. So I just wanted to make sure when I was on the mound, when I took that field in between the white lines, that I treated the game the right way, and I tried to play it the right way in the best of my abilities, and put my head down and work. And then kind of the successes followed and kind of were surprising, which makes it a lot of fun when that happens.
Yeah, obviously, no doubt about that. It is really cool. I love the fact that you do it organically, and gosh, that's what teams draft for. The fact that the looking beyond just the talent and everything. We've seen plenty of guys with great talent go down because they didn't have great attitudes or mindsets toward the game. And again, one more thing, and then we'll get to you, Chad. Here, I just wanted to also, when you go through that kind of a process here, man, there's a whole lot that goes into it, and I think that obviously you kind of have to have that right mindset. Certainly, let's also talk on that next step for you. Of course, you go through, and wow, the college game, especially ACC, all of that, it's got to be kind of grueling and interesting. What are some of the things you learned when you got there? Obviously everyone's you said, like you said, everyone's the man there, but it's you get to playing college ball, and my gosh, there's just some things that I've heard others say. You just don't know until you get there, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, and it is a big jump, and it's the things that you don't know because you don't know. Um, but it's just doing the little stuff every day, and we used to kind of have a saying at Louisville, just keep the main thing the main thing. And it didn't matter what you were doing in life, but we used it a ton at practice.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is that you're working on that day, or that moment, that is the main thing. Your math test can be in the back of your mind. You have study hall after this, and that's what's great about the University of Louisville is there's so many resources that when I'm at practice, I can just think about practice. I know I have study hall, and I know I'll have an academic advisor that's keeping up for me, and all that stuff is very, helped tremendously take my mind off of that while we're trying to get better on the baseball field. Um, so yeah, the you get to college and it kind of becomes a game inside the game. You start to understand,
Yep.
not only am I worried about what I'm doing, I have to worry about what he's doing. Like, does he run does he like to run in the first 2 pitches? Is this a bunter? Does this guy like to bunt? Does he bunt late? Is he a sacrifice guy? What's the situation in the game? Obviously, I was in the game late, so the whole game inside the game, and it takes a while to understand, but you have to be committed from day one and buy into the program. But I remember my junior year, you know, I could almost call our bunt defenses before Coach Matt could. We were just on that same of a page. Like I understood what we were trying to accomplish, what the scenario dictated, um, and then same thing with kind of pitch calling and Coach Williams. I understand. I read the scouting report. I understand what this dude is. If we give up, we don't want to give up a homer to this righty when we got a lefty on deck with the bases empty and 2 outs. Work around this guy, go for the whatever it may be. But that's when the game of baseball becomes a lot of fun when everybody's on that same page, and it no longer are we thinking of what's next. It's more just how are we going to dominate it or accomplish it. So it just comes with the experience, right? My freshman sophomore year, I think I pitched a combined 13 innings at Louisville. So I wasn't throwing a ton, but for me, just being a student of the game and understanding that there is a ton that I have to learn, if I want to be successful at this level, or if I even want to be a guy at this level. And at the end of the day, for me, when you start talking about just willing yourself to that spot, I wanted to be that dude in that situation that everybody can depend on.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be Mr. Consistent that Coach Williams and Coach Matt can go to out of the bullpen and know what they're going to get. And for me, it wasn't don't do more than what I know how to do. Just be really good at your craft and just try to be consistent. So that way, every time they run you out on the field, everybody knows what they're going to expect. And heck, my freshman, sophomore year, I didn't have a clue. I was out there just throwing the little white ball around and trying to figure out if we could have some success, So it's a lot of fun once everything starts kind of clicking.
That is amazing. Chad?
Yeah, absolutely. So the question that I like to ask, and I hope for people when I ask this question, it's not a downer, but I think it's just so important as an athlete to understand the struggles that people go for, right? Because I think that there's this false narrative or thought that, well, you made it to the majors, so you didn't deal with any adversity as you were coming up through the ranks. So, Cody, you look back upon your baseball career, what would you say during your high school or college days was your biggest bout of adversity? How'd you deal with that? Was it physical, mental, or both? Just want to pick your brain on how you dealt with adversity throughout your career before you became a professional.
Yeah, that's a good question because especially in the game of baseball, we are all going to go through adversity, right? I mean,
Yep.
if you hit 300, you're going in the Hall of Fame. So it's just every day you put in that work, and it gets to the point where if you can lay your head down at night and say, I did everything in my power today to get better, then at the end of the day, there's nothing else you can do. And whether that's successful or not successful, I had a bad day, I had a good day, whatever it may be, but it just put your head down and keep working, because it's, especially the game of baseball, it's not an overnight success. I mean, this takes years and years and repetitions and hours of practice to become consistent to where, you can start to whittle out some of those adversities. And for me, I just took it as, I wanted the obstacles. Like I used to say it all the time, feed me the obstacles.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come in the game with the bottom of the lineup up and I didn't want the easy way out. No, give me the hard, because if I can handle the hard now, it's only going to make me better later. And you're going to fail. I mean, that's just part of the game of baseball. You're not going to be perfect every time you're out there. But the biggest thing is just honing all of that in and putting your, like I said, put your head down and just try to minimize the mistakes, the physical, the physical and the mental mistakes. Obviously, mistakes are going to happen, right? I can't throw a pitch exactly the same 10 times in a row. It's just physically not possible. And I know that. And once you kind of get that in the game of baseball, and you just try to minimize your mistakes and make the least amount of mistakes as possible, that's when, things start, like I kind of said, things start clicking and it becomes a lot of fun. But by no means, every single guy that's in the big leagues in the Hall of Fame went through struggles at some point. And like you said, for me, I was undersized. I was just a small runt kind of out of high school. I think I got to Louisville. I was 6'1", 166 pounds. Um, and I'm throwing 85, 86 from the left side, and I'm just the runt of the crew. And everybody at Louisville is 6'5", throwing 90, 95. And for me, I felt out of place. So I took it upon myself. I have to become very good at my craft. I'm not going to be the guy that blows away dudes with fastballs. Um, and we had Andy Pettit come talk to us one year at Louisville, and that's kind of how he was introduced to us, was just this guy was so good at his craft, and he knew what his craft was, it's unmatched. Like, he wasn't the hardest throwing dude ever. He wasn't going to be flashy with his curveball. It wasn't none of that stuff. It was, what am I really good at? How can I be utilized in this game of baseball? How can I make myself, marketable once you start talking about professional ball? But for me, it was just feed me the obstacles, give me the hard. I want to see if I want to get through it. I want to show myself that I can get through it, and there's no other way around it. I'm not going to take failure as you know a, as an answer for this. So I think once that kind of hit me, and I think being at Louisville, being the runt, that was kind of the mentality that I said, I mentally have to be tougher than these dudes. I have to try to figure this out better than these guys. I have to be, because physically I'm behind. And once you kind of accept that and then take on that challenge, grab that bull by the horns and give it hell. But other than that, it's going through those adversities is for me, it's fun. Every kid that I tell that I come work with, like, I want you to struggle in here. I want it to be hard work, because it is very difficult to change things and to work on things and to develop without failing and finding out what doesn't work. So for me, that was kind of just the mentality on adversity while I was going through all the levels.
And once again, everybody, Cody Ege joining us on the Prospect Planner piece, brought to you by RDA Financial, and always on the hotline as well. So a lot of fun as we continue to talk about this and as we start to wind down the conversation. But first and foremost, Cody, I know that when it comes to, especially high school pitchers, trying to find what pitch kind of works best for them, there's a lot of things out there, from different grips to different arm slots. There's just certainly a lot that goes into pitching. And I know that can be a little overwhelming when it comes to trying to find your identity as that pitcher. What kind of take us through what was best, what arsenal worked best for you? What was kind of your best pitch, and how did you kind of navigate that, or did that best pitch change from high school to the pros or college and so forth?
Yeah, and going through high school, that finding out that identity early is huge. But a lot of the guys that I work with, I personally would like to see, and I did the same thing. I want to see you have a dominant fastball and changeup.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you start there, we could do everything after that. And obviously, with the level of competition and the level of athleticism that's coming up, maybe that doesn't work these days. But I know for a fact, if you don't have a fastball or changeup you're confident in, you're going to struggle later. So a lot of guys that I work with, I want them to understand that in high school, just because it's 0-2, you don't have to throw a curveball. You don't have to try to get an out with a curveball because this guy struggles with a curveball. So for me, I didn't throw a breaking ball until I was a junior in high school. So for me, I played as an eighth grader. I got to pitch a little bit in high school, and then as a freshman, sophomore year, I had to get dudes out with a fastball changeup, and I was on the mound with two pitches and saying, "Let's go! Like, I got to figure this out, or I'm going to get shelled here today, and it's not going to be good." So I think that helped tremendously build the confidence in figuring out, those two pitches that anytime I can go back to. And then my junior year, I kind of had the two arm slots. I was throwing higher and more sidearm, mixed it into lefties and righties. And then the slider really kind of developed probably more in my junior year once I kind of started mixing that in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to Louisville, and kind of my freshman and sophomore year, they wanted to see me as the over the top guy. They didn't want to see the sidearm. And then I remember I was throwing a bullpen my junior year, and I kind of just was, I think it was one last pitch, and I was, a fastball down on the way to a righty, and I threw it sidearm as like a little sinker. And I remember Coach Williams was like in shock. And I was like, Coach, I've been telling you that I kind of want to dabble with the sidearm thing. He's like, throw one of them again. And like it was thick accent. And so we kind of I ended up throwing about 10 more pitches, the fastball, changeup, sidearm, slider, all from the sidearm slot. And, from there, it kind of became a lot of fun to watch Coach Williams kind of help me maneuver that process and get that back, and then how can we utilize this in at this level. So then the slider became my go-to pitch. Obviously, the fastball and the changeup were huge, but in college I was kind of seen as the left-handed guy, right? Like come in and face the Kyle Schwarbers in the big situations, and we need somebody that can get this dude out and don't get to the next guy. So, spent a lot of time with a fastball slider, facing a lot of lefties. Rarely would throw the left on left changeup.
Yeah.
And then bang, you get into professional baseball, and now I need something that can get righties out, because my 86, 87 mile an hour sinker, they see every day, plus 5 miles an hour. So I ended up, Alex Claudio, he's still throwing in professional baseball, but kind of the sidearm lefty, and just he's notorious for his changeup. He throws this floater. It's like he throws it and a parachute comes out of the ball. It's unbelievable. So for me, I took that upon myself. Like, I'm going to play catch with this dude as much as I can, because I want to figure out what he's doing that I can pick up and steal from him to now get righties out. Because if I can't get righties out, I'm not going to be able to play professional baseball very long. That's just the way the game is. So for me, that was probably my first full year of professional baseball, and I learned really quick that I have to develop this changeup. So spring training, I just threw the crap out of a ton of changeups, while still mixing in other pitches. But once you can kind of get a hitter into a situation where I know I can throw 3 pitches here and he's probably going to roll one over or whatever it may be, then it's baseball's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of time to develop that, and then let those sit into what pitches I want to use and the confidence that I need to have to throw them.
And no doubt about that. Gosh, I love that answer. And again, that's really, really cool. The experiences are just amazing. And again, I do love a good, thick Southern accent sometimes. So I can only imagine how fun that was. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Ege joining us here as we're on our Prospect Planner segment. Now, Chad, this is again, love the fact as we sit here, we get to have this kind of conversation. Again, a lot that goes into it, and so Cody, thanks as always, continuing to have such good conversation in baseball. But Chad, I'll leave this next one up to you here.
All right, well, Cody, I gotta ask, because you played in the big dance in college baseball. You played in Omaha, the College World Series. Kind of take us through your fondest memory of doing that as we wrap things up.
I would say the fondest memory of that is getting to share that moment with all the teammates on the field. All my buddies. Obviously, being from Northwest Iowa, we're spoiled, and with Omaha right down the road. So growing up, I think it was from 2001 to 2010, I went to every World Series, at least one game. Besides, I think we missed 1 year. We were playing baseball somewhere. But, for me, growing up in that essence of Rosenblatt and walking down that street was just unbelievable as a fan. And then as a baseball fan and a young kid of the game, I looked up to those players like they were gods. So then as I developed now into this college player, freshman year, we don't make it. I think we barely went 500, struggled for a year, don't make the postseason. And, I was watching, I don't remember who it was, but anyway, watching a game on TV, and I'm just thinking to myself, we're a long ways from there, but that's the goal, right? And then sophomore year, we kind of turn it around, have some dudes step up, have a lot of fun that year, and then we go down to Arizona and just run into a hot Arizona team who just dominated that regional. So again, we made a regional, in my mind, not happy. But I remember that year I went to a game, and I remember watching. I mean, I just played these guys, right? And now I'm in the stands at Rosenblatt, and I'm just looking at these dudes on the field, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, they're not different than us. They just put it together. They didn't outwork us at Louisville. I can promise you that. Like, they just put it together at the right time. Um, so then getting the opportunity to go to Louisville, or to go to Omaha with Louisville was something that I wanted to share with my brothers on that field. And we had Nick Birdie who threw 100 as our closer, right? Like every game I would set up the eighth, flip him the ball, and it was over. But we're at Vandy, not supposed to beat them. We beat them yesterday, and now it's the ninth inning to go to Omaha. And Nick's struggling a little bit, and our whole bullpen wanted to go to the dugout to get ready to celebrate. And I said, no, like, we're not doing that yet. That's just bad juju. We need to stay ready. Not saying that I don't trust Nick. Obviously, we trust Nick, but we're just not going to do that. So we stay down there, and then next thing you know, Coach Williams calls down, hey, get Ege hot. So I start throwing, and next thing I know, I'm in the game. But for me, and this is kind of the same thing, and one of them things that I tell all the kids is, mentally, I had put myself in that situation 1,000,000 times. I wanted to be the dude to throw the last pitch to go to Omaha. And for me, it wasn't a cocky thing. It wasn't anything like that. It's just, I know I've put in so much work to get to this situation that I can tell any hitter on this lineup, I want this more than you right now. So I was super fortunate enough, got to face Yastrzemski and strike him out to go to Omaha. And so that was a big moment. But for me, it was just sharing that moment with some guys from Jersey and from Pennsylvania that have never seen Omaha other than on TV, and getting to walk into those dugouts and out of that field at Ameritrade and playing under the lights. That the first game we played down there was under the lights with like 27,000. Like, some of our dudes couldn't even fathom that, and it was so, we're facing Schwarber underneath the lights. Like, it was just unbelievable. That's Omaha's a memory that I'll cherish forever, because it became that full circle. I went from that little kid to sitting in the shiny bleachers in the outfield chasing home run balls during BP to, I'm on the mound throwing 3 innings against, one of the nation's top 8 teams. And it was just a lot of fun.
Oh man, absolutely love that. That's what you live for, and I absolutely love it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Ege here on the hotline as we talk on our prospect planner piece. And last couple questions here. I did want to ask with that too, just very quickly. We've all grown up with Rosenblatt, and of course the new TD Charles Schwab Field. It's changed names.
Schwab, yeah.
But what kind of takes through the difference there. I know that you played one, but it's just kind of different. Obviously, the nostalgia there, but that place is ripe, set up for college baseball at its best. I mean, from everything that they're going on outside, I know as a player you don't get to participate in all these stuff going outside the field all the time, but definitely Omaha's had a great, but they've had 2 really good sites there.
No, for sure. And like you said, the Rosenblatt just vibe when you would just pull up there, and it's just 3-quarter blocks and everybody's just drooling with college baseball, and it's the young kids that are buying a hat because they think that team looks cool, the logo is cool, or whatever it may be. And then obviously you get to Charles Schwab, and it's just an unbelievable venue, and that it's really cool to see how much that outside love for the game of baseball has transformed into, let's take this over to Charles Schwab too, because obviously Rosenblatt will go down as maybe my favorite field ever that I didn't get to play on, but just the memories there of, in the history and so many years of the loud ping bats and the long home runs, and but then going to Charles Schwab is it's unmatched. You walk around that entire stadium, there's tents, there's all the foods, there's the Dippin' Dots, and there's T-shirts and jerseys and everything that you could ever want, and you're just engulfed with college baseball. And as us baseball guys, that's awesome to see. Like, we love the passion from the fans. We love that this game is so special to so many people, and it's not just me. So I still go anytime that I get an opportunity. I got a really good buddy in Louisville that's always I'm coming to Omaha this year. I'm coming to Omaha, and so, I'm ready, dude. I'll drive down there tomorrow. I'll take the day off work. I don't care. Like, I wouldn't miss that for the world. So, Still try to get down there every year. Took my dad last year, and we
Yep,
had some
that's
fun. So
cool.
kind of same thing, one of them full circle things. He used to take us down there all the time. So I just love it. I tell everybody, if you're half of a baseball fan, it of all ages, it's an absolute blast, and they do it right.
They sure do. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Ege joining us, and well, I swear we say last couple questions down to our last two. I swear, Cody. Great conversation, by the way. I love it. The attitude, the mindset, everything, and you have to have that at all levels here. But a lot of things that have to go right, and a lot of things that you have done right in your career. But I'll leave this one up to Chad here.
All right, Cody, you got to ask what was going through your mind when you got drafted? What was that experience like for you? What were you expecting that? Uh, what were you doing?
So the draft, the year I got drafted was the first day was the day before the super regionals. So we're getting ready for Vanderbilt. We're going to Vandy to play Vandy, the national seed, um, with some dudes on that team. So I had talked with the Rangers a little bit, but didn't really um, didn't really talk to a lot of teams. So I wasn't sure, but I knew getting caught up in it wasn't going to help me. We have a monster possible next 3 days that I can't even think about the draft. Um, so the first day was the day before. The second day was our first game at Vandy, and so I told everybody, I was like, if I do get drafted, I don't want to know. That'll be there for me after the game because the draft started like as we were on the field getting ready, whatever. Um, I was so focused on Vanderbilt that I don't want to say I didn't care, but I didn't care. Because I knew if I wasted 1 second wondering what was going on that TV and on that screen, that it was going to take away from this game and maybe kick me off my game, kick somebody else off their game, whatever it may be. Um, but sure enough, right before the freaking game, the five guys come down from the dugout and, dude, congrats, you just went in the 15th round of the Rangers. And I almost couldn't enjoy it because I was so focused. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like that'll be
Yeah,
there after this game. Like we'll figure that out after. I was like, I'm Vandy right now, dude. Like we're talking Vandy. Like we got to be on top of our game here. I can't. No. So that day was kind of an absolute whirlwind in that aspect. That we go into Vandy and we beat them on their home field, and then I get to walk off to my cell phone with 500 missed text messages, and I just got drafted. So it was an interesting process and an interesting time in that aspect because I was so focused on accomplishing one of my absolute biggest dreams of going to Omaha, um, but also at the same time, somebody just called my name in the MLB draft. So it was a whirlwind of emotions. But I knew if I could just put all of that stuff aside today, tomorrow, and then the third day, that'll be there for me. But I don't want to look back on this moment thinking, shoot, we should have beat Vandy if, because we had a lot of guys get drafted that year, and it's like I hope they're thinking the same thing. I hope some of these guys aren't selfish in the aspect of thinking, "Oh, I don't care about this anymore. Like I got pro ball coming now. Like no, and a lot of us were on the same page of that, if not all of us, that we have a job to do here before I even think about what professional baseball looks like.
yeah, and that I love that mindset. Again, it's why you ended up getting there. It's among a lot of things here, Cody. And uh, as we wrap it up, I do want to ask just about your time getting into pro ball. You're in the minors. Obviously, there's a lot that has changed. Obviously, you've had different teams rearrange. A lot of things go on, but and that includes how minor leaguers have been treated. I know that you weren't treated horribly by any means. I'm not saying that, but there have been. I don't want to say horror stories, but guys have seven guys in one room, one in a 2 room apartment, things like that. You're just trying to kind of get by outside of the game. What was your situation like as you got into the minor leagues and you kind of rose through those ranks? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was a shock.
Yeah.
like I said, you come from Louisville, and our facilities at Louisville are unmatched. And you think you get into professional baseball and they're going to be better, but not in the minors. It's not even close. Like, we were so spoiled at Louisville, and I hate that it takes the chance for you to play professional baseball to realize that. Um, but you get in there, and like you said, we were 3-bedroom apartment with 5 guys, and everybody just carried their blow up air mattress with them everywhere they went, and a blanket and a pillow. And ultimately, you had to live basically out of 2 duffel bags. One, all your baseball stuff that you take to the field and you can fit into one bag. And then your other bag is one bag that, is my personal stuff that if I do get called up, I have to be able to pack both of these and put them on a Southwest flight and be out of it at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Um, so it was definitely a challenge. And I think, like you said, it's changed a lot now, but the mentality of it kind of dictates how it's going to be, right? How you make it. So for me, it was, I'm thinking, shoot, dude, like, I get to play baseball. I get to travel on somebody else's credit card. I get to go to these cities that, I probably would never visit on my own if I was not playing baseball. Um, and then obviously it's being able to put all of the distractions aside. In professional baseball, that, you have to be able to balance life and baseball. Um, I had a buddy of mine, he was just this major thinker, really, really good baseball player, but just a thinker. And he would go home at night and sit on the couch, and we'd watch, our little 32-inch TV in the living room off the Wi-Fi. And he would just hold a baseball all day in his hand. And I was like, dude, like, you have to put that away at some point. Like, you have to shut it off. Otherwise, it's just going to eat you, and you're going to dig deep. And now it's too much thinking. And I was like, when we're at the field, it's time to work. But like, when you get away from the field, you have to keep your mind busy with something else, because we play and practice enough baseball to last us a year that we don't need to do it in our downtime. Um, so kind of balancing that in professional baseball, like taking your day off and
Mm-hmm.
taking a day off.
Yeah.
Um, you learn really quick that I have to utilize these times away. Otherwise, this game is going to eat me alive. And like I said, it's just kind of the mentality of enjoy the process, man. Like, yeah, it wasn't peachy, but dude, I'm playing professional baseball. I can call 30 of my friends right now that would give up everything, drop everything for an opportunity to come be on this blow up air mattress in this little podunk town somewhere to play in a game tomorrow with 18 people in the stands.
Yeah.
So it's really just having a good mindset about it and just making the best of every opportunity. So that way, when your chance does come, you're ready. Because in my opinion, professional baseball, there's a lot of guys playing. There is luck involved. So ideally, you get lucky, but then you're ready when your luck comes. And now when that bus makes its stop at your stop and you get on it, you're not getting off it. And that was kind of my mentality. Is I know I'm not. Not many of these guys get to do this forever. There's a very, very small percent of the number of guys that get to say, I want to walk away from baseball. The guys that play the 15 years and can say, all right, like, I've had enough, I'm ready to go. Not many guys get to say that. So I don't know if this is going to last me a year or 5 years, or, ideally you want to play 30, that would be the goal. But just having that mentality of showing up to the field every day, trying to get better. And it does get tough, right? Like, you're in New Orleans and it's 137 degrees outside and 100% humidity, and you feel like you haven't stopped sweating in 6 days. But for me, I loved it. Like I said, like, feed me the obstacles, man. I don't want the golden path to the big leagues. I don't want it that way. And for me, you get in a pro ball, now you're surrounded by dudes on dudes on dudes, and just be the student of the game. And how can I pick up something from this guy, and how can I pick up something from this coach, and then just basically snowball my career as far forward as I can. So that way, when I walk away, I say I did everything in my power. There wasn't one day that I didn't give it my all. And fortunate for me, like, when I got hurt and, the reality hit that I wasn't going back to baseball, a lot of people are like, were you mad? Were you upset? And I was like, no, man, like, I did everything in my power. Like,
Mm-hmm.
physically, I just couldn't hold up to it, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I can lay my head down and say I did everything in my power, from the day I got drafted to going through my, 15 months of rehab with Tommy John, that I did everything in my power, and it just didn't work out. So now it's on to the next thing, and I don't take any of it for granted.
Yeah, and it is one of the things I always really enjoy is getting to ask about, kind of those big moments, and not only that, but the big moments on getting to, pitch at any level. And then kind of take us through. You get the chance to put on a Major League Baseball jersey. Obviously you've been with the Angels and Marlins, I believe, and what was it like to get onto that type of mound, put that jersey on for the first time, and notice like you're part of an elite group that very few get to do just to be there, let alone play the game.
Yeah. Obviously, majority of the time you're going to play in a couple big league spring training games prior. So that's a big step. Just walking into that clubhouse. I just remember walking in. It's Prince Fielder, Adrian Beltre, Cole Hamels, like just dudes with the Rangers. Um, and at that point, you're wearing number like 72, and I don't even think I had the name on the back of my jersey because I was probably wearing the minor league jersey up to the big league side. But yeah, I'll never forget the first time sitting on, we were in San Francisco, sitting on that little seat in the locker room, and I looked up and like, number 56 Ege, like that's my jersey, like that's the one that we've been working our tail off to see in the locker for a long time. Um, so that's like a super cool moment. And obviously just walking, I got to the stadium earlier that day. I was on an early flight, and they're like, you can either go to the stadium or you can go to the hotel and ride the team bus. And I said, I'll just go to the stadium, get acclimated. So I'm walking around, San Francisco's field. I have full access to wherever I want to go. And I'm FaceTiming my brother, and it's just like this wild reality setting in. Like I'm like showing him the bay, and I'm like, dude, like we only saw this stuff on, the video games we played, and
Yeah.
like now we're here. Um, so it was a really cool moment. And then, I get warmed up and I go in the game, and obviously adrenaline's flowing, but I'm just telling myself like back to just keep the main thing the main thing. It's still 60 feet, 6 inches. That dude's got a round bat. I've got a round ball. I know how to do this, trying to keep myself grounded here. And I throw my last warm up pitch, and you're on that high. Like you feel like you're floating, and it's just not, it's just this euphoria of it's not, it doesn't feel real.
Yep.
They throw the ball around the horn, and D Gordon came up, and me and D Gordon were boys kind of in spring training, and had built a little bit of a relationship with him. And he said, which the third baseman normally gives you the ball after going around the horn, but D kept it and came up to me and from second base, and he said, "Hey, bro, I'm so proud of you. I'm happy for you. Um, you enjoy it, or you deserve this moment. Enjoy it. Now go show him you deserve to stay here." And like for me, that whole sentence that he just told me will stick with me forever, because that grounded me so fast. Like I was like, okay, now we're just back to a spring training game with my boy D behind me. Like, and that ultimately probably settled me in more than anything I could have imagined doing myself. And it was probably nothing to him. He probably didn't think he's probably forgot about it by now, thinking, all the guys he's played with and whatnot. But that is a moment that I just from a veteran that, that dude helped a new guy kind of get grounded and just say, "Hey, dude, you're just still playing baseball, man. Just enjoy it and show him you deserve to stay here."
Oh man, absolutely love that, Cody Ege. That's I love the story. I love all of that, and I always love the origin stories, how you get to where you are, what you've been through, and of course now as we sit here, we all get the chance to talk about baseball. But now I want to ask, as we wrap things up officially, what's life like for you right now? What kind of endeavors are you taking on, and how much of baseball is still part of your life?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like you said, the exciting time of the year where you can turn the TV on and get some baseball coverage, whether it's, college. I mean, even the high school kids are working out now, starting to play some catch indoors and they're getting the edge. But yeah, I still do some lessons in Cherokee.
Hmm.
We run a camp twice a year with a couple guys that, have very smart baseball guys. My older brother and then one of his buddies played college baseball, just a guru. But I'm working for an engineering firm right now. Love it. The culture that they built there is the same, if not better than any locker room that I've ever been in. So that makes it a lot of fun being the athlete and kind of transitioning that over, because we're team guys.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of fun to see that in the real world. And then I'm also going to flight school right now, so working on my pilot's license stuff. Ultimately, I want to be maybe an airline pilot, but a professional pilot at some point. So right now, I've got my private pilot, my instrument, so I can kind of fly wherever I want, whenever I want. Kind of makes it fun, but just always looking for the next challenge. I don't want to be stagnant in this life, and like I said, feed me the hard stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
give me the next challenge. I'm ready for it. So that's kind of the daily stuff for me.
Oh, man, I love it. Your take on life, just not just baseball, but life. I mean, truly, I love that. I mean, I'd go to bat for you any day, Cody. Amen to that. I absolutely love that.
I
Really, really
appreciate it.
cool. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Ege, who has been through the major league game, been through every level you can ask, and it's been great. So, but we really appreciate the time here, Cody. From all of it, from Chad, myself, I know that this game is really challenging, but how you've handled it, how you've succeeded, and how you've come through is very inspirational. So thanks for all you've done in just kind of being that inspirational person.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate what you're doing. I love the baseball energy, and any way that we can share it with the other baseball community, man, I'm always in for that. Whether it's a 7-year-old kid that's playing some t-ball to a high school kid that's going through a recruiting process, it's all a lot of fun to me, and I tell every kid, enjoy it, man. Enjoy every step of the process. Enjoy the difficult. Enjoy the fun. Enjoy the good. Because this game of baseball is so much more than just a game to a lot of us, and you treat it the right way, it'll treat you right back.
Yep, that is true. Chad, anything else for the good of the cause? Otherwise, this, which has been a hugely, I think, successful interview and love it, we'll kind of wrap that up officially.
Yeah, Cody, thanks a lot. I always enjoy talking with you and hearing the stories, and your experience is just, it's so valuable, and I'm happy that you came back to Northwest Iowa where you can help baseball here. I know you and your brother have done a lot in Cherokee, and you deserve some accolades for that, to be certain. And it's just awesome to have you here. And Northwest Iowa it's you're a great resource for Northwest Iowa and Northwest Iowa baseball. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I appreciate it, guys, and that's my goal. Is I want to provide for some kids on some stuff that we didn't get as we were growing up. So I want it better for these young guys than we had it. So that's what I'm here for.
Hey, no doubt with you at the helm that'll happen. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye for this segment. Make sure to check out more, of course, not only this segment, but other parts of High and Tight, and of course, the Iowa Baseball Network, wherever you can get us. Make sure to check out for giveaways coming your way here soon. But until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you later.